world full of fakes, deep fakes, fake news, fake meat, con artists, and just plain old influencers. Never before has there been more of an emphasis on authenticity. And that's because everywhere we go, we're presented with people and things who just aren't what they say they are. The Ford Bronco Raptor was one of those rare things that is what it says it is on the box. In fact, I think it is the box. And that puts the Bronco in some pretty serious company. Authenticity. Being true to its name is why the whole "it's a Jeep thing" is a thing. And why the Mercedes G-Wagen is a G-Thang. And why the Land Rover Defender is probably experiencing an electrical problem, but still could somehow make it across the entire Sahara Desert. Those three nameplates are icons that took decades to cultivate. Not so with Raptor, because within 2 minutes, everybody knew exactly what a Raptor was. It was an off-road truck that could go anywhere, at any speed. This thing is genuinely nuts. Horsepower seems like a lot until you realize this thing has 5,700 pounds to pull around. However, 440 pound-feet of torque, and it makes that torque all of the time. And the gears are so short and closely spaced that you could bang through 4 of them in between jumps. This truck uses suspension from the F-150 Raptor, which is like 5 sizes wider. And that translates to 5 times the stability, says physics. Or maybe just me. You can run over anything in this truck. It just doesn't care. I'm not going to read you some spec page about approach and departure angle, because here's what you need to know about this truck. It defecates on every other vehicle in the world, including the F-150 Raptor, in every metric important to off-roading. Heard of Baja, right? This thing is Baja. Is it so stupid? There's not just one reason why the Bronco Raptor can do all of that. There are 13. That's the number of inches of front suspension travel it has, 14 at the back, and the suspension is controlled by adaptive Fox internal bypass shocks. It also has 10 inches of squishy sidewall. We know this because this is a 37-inch tire. That is a 17-inch wheel. 37 minus 17 equals 20, divided by 2 is 10.
37 is a huge tire, and that's really important because when a rolling item like a tire encounters a vertical rise in the road, like a bump or a rock, its angle of vertical deflection is correlated to its overall diameter. In English, this just means the bigger the tire, the bigger stuff that it can roll over before it reaches that critical point where the vertical height of the object approaches the distance between the hub and the contact patch, which is exactly the point at which a bump becomes an insurance claim. We all know science is never fun, which is why you guys need a practical demonstration. Allow me. A big wheel rolls right over an obstacle. With little wheels, big wheels are one of the reasons the BRaptor can do what it does. Hagerty recommends always wearing your seatbelt in any moving vehicle, especially those with small wheels.
I'd like to think I have like a master's degree in rental car wreckage. This thing is Ford's masterclass PhD in how to survive mechanical unsympathy. Because with these wheels and those tires, it will go over everything that you genuinely think, no way, not possible. And it doesn't require a lot of throttle to do it. Its low-range first gear is so low that this thing can put 29,845 pound-feet of torque to the ground. So all of this happens with no stress.
I know this thing looks like a G-Wagen, or a Defender, or even a Jeep, but the Bronco Raptor is in a different league entirely. A Wrangler would literally crack in half trying to do things that the BRaptor does with ease. Comparing them based on looks is like comparing a Subaru BRZ and a Ferrari 812 in straight line acceleration because they're both front-engine coupes. When it comes to off-roading and rock crawling and Baja-style insanity, the BRaptor is in a class of one.
I genuinely believe if you wanted to kill this truck, you'd have to kill yourself doing it. And I once killed a truck. I did, and I just didn't think it was appropriate to wreck an Isuzu Trooper that ran. So I made sure it didn't run.
Keep going! And that took a lot of effort. But none of the things that it took to finally kill that poor red thing would have even registered in a BRaptor. It's one thing to be a tough truck, it's something else to be a Raptor. And that's because, to quote the Baby Raptor's chassis engineer,
we know what our customers are going to do with this vehicle.
Welcome to Starbucks. Can I take your order, please?
Hi, I'd like a venti iced single source Sumatra with room, 1 honey, 3 protein powder, no ice, 1 banana, 2 strawberry, triple soy milk, add foam, 2 pumps of white mocha, and can I have that in a Trenta cup, please? Oh, double blended with a caramel drizzle on top. Thanks.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
The BRaptor is 10 inches wider than a regular Bronco. To put that in perspective, that's more than the difference between the narrowest Mercedes-Benz sold in America and the widest. This thing is huge. And the hood is really high. So luckily it has an off-road camera facing forward so you can see what you're about to hit. Never mind.
all of this gives an incredible sense of invincibility, like you're wearing one of those blow-up sumo suits where your friends can tackle you and you basically don't even feel it.
The off-road ability may be something people don't actually use, but it pays huge dividends in the real world. The Bronco Raptor hits the same potholes and curves and pedestrians that all the other cars hit. The difference is they just don't exist in this thing. The Raptor rides great, but it's not quite the magic carpet ride that the F-150 Raptor has, and that might be the best riding car on sale anywhere in the world. The difference is for two reasons. Number one, this is a convertible, so the structure isn't as strong, even though the Raptor has additional bracing. And number two, the wheelbase is 29 inches shorter than the F-150 Raptor. To put it in Mercedes terms again, 29 inches is longer than the difference between the smallest sedan Mercedes sells and the biggest one, the Maybach. This still is not a small vehicle though. You might think taking it on a twisty back road would be like, I don't know, taking a cruise ship to an autocross, but you'd be wrong. In fact, this is more fun on a back road than a 911 GT3. Way more fun. Work it in. The suspension is so soft. The body motions can be measured in feet. Look at that. 3 feet of brake dive. 4 yards of body roll. This is so dumb. And everything just happens in slow motion because the tires are so gooey, but the chassis balance is so good. You pitch it in, add power back, it rotates around. This is so dumb fun. And the best part is you don't have to worry about hitting anything. Like, come around in a corner, in the middle of the corner, it's blind. Oh, there's a rock there. You just hit it. Go, Jesus Christ, with the brakes. The f was that?
Okay, so it's fun and games until the brakes give out. Sometimes it's ABS calibration issues on those knobbly, gooey tires, and sometimes the Raptor's brakes just overheat. Big sidewalls mean small wheels, and that leaves room for hot hatch-sized brakes on a truck that weighs as much as 2 hot hatches.
Well, I guess there had to be some drawback to all that off-road ability, but that's it, and that's really impressive. Look, the Raptor is the Bronco people are dreaming they're buying when they buy a regular Bronco, or a Bronco Sport, which is neither a Bronco nor a Sport. This is something that automotive product planners just can't wrap their heads around. They're taught that if you want to sell 1 million cars, you need to make it appeal to vaguely everyone, but offend absolutely no one. And so out in the real world, everything is a blob that's painted silver, white, gray, or black. Seriously, the next time you're out in the real world, look around at the utter lack of personality and color. It's an epidemic of boring. Ugh.
The product planners are right if the goal is to sell widgets. But if you want to create something that people lust after, you go the other way. Kick the product planners out and install a team of enthusiasts who completely understand the mindset of the buyers because they are those buyers. And that's how the Raptor happened.
Eyes on the road, sky turns to gold. I've seen the sign on the skyline. The urge in my soul, gotta let go. I've had enough of the hard times.
It's the same thing with the Wrangler. It's a Jeep thing because the Wrangler is done by people who are authentically Jeep people. It may be the least roadworthy of all of the iconic monster trucks, but that's precisely the reason why Jeep sells more Wranglers in the US than Audi does all of its cars and trucks combined. And it's a familiar story over at Mercedes.
Every year, Mercedes-Benz sells more G-Wagons than ever before. And the funniest thing in the world is watching the Germans try to figure this out. This is technology from the 1970s. It cannot do a lap of the Nürburgring. It won't do 300 kilometers an hour on the Autobahn. Who gives a swinging Scheiße? That is a Jeep, built to Mercedes-Benz build standards. What is not to love?
Speaking of non-Germans, if you want to understand the Defender's appeal, well, just look at it. On the road, this is the sportiest of our icons, but it has off-road cred to back up its looks, and all of the posh British luxury that a country gentleman needs while milling about the farm. But the BRaptor takes it all to the next level.
Combining two iconic nameplates, Bronco and Raptor, could have been a double whammy marketing disaster. But Ford took all of the right, authentic people and put them behind this project and absolutely nailed it. It's a street-legal trophy truck, shaped like the box it came in. I can think of only a handful of vehicles that so comprehensively nail their intended function. Half of them are in this episode. All of them are icons. And it's because they're authentic. Your favorite influencer just wouldn't understand.
All right, so you're going to keep the Ferrari framed out the entire time, right?
Yep.
Perfect.
Action.
I'm not some rich YouTuber asking you to like and subscribe. Hey, up, keep the Ferrari out. I'm an automotive journalist asking you to like and subscribe, and that's because that's how YouTube works. If you don't click those buttons, YouTube doesn't know that you like what you're seeing and won't show you any more of it. If you don't like what you're seeing, well, join the club. And by that, I mean the Hagerty Drivers Club, which gets you access to this award-winning magazine, as well as discounts on some pretty amazing stuff. And if you still don't like what you've seen, well, then leave a nasty comment, because that's how the internet works. I gotta go clean that up.